And for today's In the Know talk, we're joined by the new chairman of WTVP, John Wheeland. John, we have questions about what's going on at the station currently, and this is amid an investigation into improper spending. Now, I understand that you are the new chairman, so you were not chairman at the time of this, the mass exodus
Correct.
that has happened
Correct.
at the station. But assuming that, there was a bit of a handoff between you and the former chairman, what is your understanding about this mass exodus here? I mean, 11 board members resigned voluntarily earlier this month. Why is that?
Okay, so just to summarize, they had some financial issues. They bought Peoria Magazine, a great magazine. It was a financial drain on WTVP. Then you had some misuse of funds, which caused some additional issues, and then the Corporation of Public Broadcasting said, hey, we need to know what's going on, and we need to put your funding on pause. When you have misuse of funds, which can happen in any organization, the police and the attorneys tell you what you can say and what you can't say, and most of it is what you can't say.
Right.
And so with all that stuff going around, the previous board, kind of, when you're not saying everything, you have to circle the wagons, and then there's an appearance of not being open and honest. And so they're having some financial challenges. The optics of what was going on was really, really unfortunate. And Chairman Rand, once the misuse was identified, they made the appropriate steps, took the appropriate steps, but that board decided a pivot was necessary, and they were able to negotiate an investment of $1.2 million to get WTVP back on actually good financial ground, okay? But they also thought that the community needed a refreshed board. And so the group of 16, they talked among themselves who wanted to stay, who would be willing to, who were going to go, and it wasn't based on performance. So the 11 that resigned were equally qualified to stay on the board as the 5 that did. They just wanted to give the community a refreshed board, and so I thought they handled a tough situation actually pretty well.
Did those board members just not want to be associated with the WTVP brand at that point?
No, I think if I asked any of those 11 to stay on, I believe they would have stayed on. But again, Chairman Rand, the executive team, that board thought a pivot was necessary, and part of that pivot was to give a community a new chairman, a refreshed board members, and those that resigned, actually, I think they did it as a sacrifice.
So you say that you believe that had they been asked to stay on, they would have stayed on, but they were asked to stay on, though, but they decided to leave, correct?
No, of the 16, to have a new board, obviously, some people had to leave.
Right.
So they got together, they decided who would stay and who would go. Myself, I focused on the new 8 members. Okay. They decided who was going to stay and who was going to resign, but I think all 16 of them served nobly in a tough situation.
And how were they, some of them have been replaced, not all of them, but how were they replaced so quickly? Well,
during the pivot and during the conversations that I had with Chairman Rand and the executive team, that was the new board was part of that pivot, and then myself and Dr. Chu, who's on the board, we worked for about a month and a half trying to get diversification on the board, geographic diversification, people from Galesburg, people from Bloomington Normal. We also tried to get economic diversity, people that have white-collar jobs, people that got blue-collar jobs. We want moms there, and so we're adding, in February, we'll be adding 5 more to bring the board up to the minimum of 18, that's what you're supposed to have. And again, the focus is on good diversification that reflects our entire community.
Okay, so these board members left willingly. They were...
Sure, absolutely.
And were they given the decision to either stay or go?
Yes, I mean, I wasn't part of that conversation. All I know is that they got together, they decided who was like, oh, hey, I'm willing to let someone else take my seat, et cetera, et cetera. And to be honest with you, you need to ask them their motivation, but it wasn't because this board member did good and this board member didn't do so good, and that's why they resigned. That would be completely false.
Okay, and we do have to bring this up. We are running out of time here, but we were hearing about possible, money mismanagement, which is under investigation. Can you give us any perspective on exactly what happened there?
There was just misuse of funds, primarily in regards to, look, if I'm a CEO of a company, and if I use company money for personal use, that's misuse of funds. And it appears that some of that could have happened or did happen. And like I said, the law enforcement is involved. There's a criminal investigation involved. And so, there's a fair amount that we can't really even talk about. But that is the type, I don't think it was like embezzlement of actually just stealing money. I think it was more misuse of expenses.
Okay. And now that you are the chairman, what do you plan on doing differently, and what is the direction that you're taking this station in now? Great.
We're working on a lot of things, but the three main things is to restore trust with members and viewers that they've lost trust. And that's not an event. That's going to take a while. The second thing is to get the right hand of fellowship with a corporation of public broadcasting. They are significant. They give us $700,000 to $900,000 a year. That's not replaceable. If I didn't think that would happen, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. The third thing is to get the new CEO. So those are the three things: restore trust with the listening audience, right hand of fellowship with Corporation of Public Broadcasting, and find the new CEO that's going to launch WTVP into a great 2024.
Well, thank you, John, for your time today. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Aaron.
Of course. It is now 12:51. Stick with us. We'll be right back.